As always, Mei-Yin is a badass. In the Explorer notes, Mei-Yin was actually fighting against the Yellow Turbans, but in the show, it seems that her and Han aren't just part of the Yellow Turbans, they may even be leading the rebellion. This doesn't really change anything, it's just an interesting choice. In this scene, Mei-Yin tells Han one more battle, which is truer than they know, because their next battle will be their last.
You see, I've never understood why we are enemies. Do you remember, Mei-Yin, when you first arrived here? When I pulled you, shivering from the waters, and showed you the ways of this savage land? Together we were the strongest, the fiercest, the most powerful. The consul you could have been in Rome.
I love this scene. Before the show aired its first 6 episodes, I had a theory that Mei and Nerva might have been allies in the show canon. This scene confirms that my theory was correct. I feel like this adds so much to the rivalry, which in my opinion was kind of awful in the Explorer notes. Mei doesn't even learn Nerva's name until her 30th note.
And your home is not my home.
You told me of your past. You fought a bloody war to overthrow your corrupt emperor, as did I.
Making Nerva and Mei-Yin both have similar backstories is a great addition to both characters, which once again makes their rivalry that much better than the Explorer notes. Mei and Nerva are two sides of the same coin.
I did not know you as I do now. I did not see for a time what you really were. I will never forget what you did that day.
We know that Wusui will be in the show, as we have seen him a few times in promotional art, so I believe this line from Mei is probably referring to Nerva killing Wusui, which, if that's the case, I'm not ready. Even though I never really cared for Mei in the notes, Wusui's death is still heartbreaking, and I'm scared that it will be even more so in the show.
I would rather die than walk in stride with a slaver and a murderer.
Mei tries to rip Nerva's throat out with her teeth, and he doesn't even flinch.
You will die before you see another sunrise.
Me when somebody tries to tell me that pineapple is a good topping on pizza.
Why do you make it so much worse for yourself?
Should I betray my friends as you did, Rockwell?
You should simply tell him what he wants to hear. That's what I do.
We learn a lot about who this version of Rockwell really is. Him telling Mei-Yin that he simply tells Nerva what he wants to hear is crucial for Rockwell's character growth, and a clear sign of Rockwell no longer trusting nor liking Nerva.
After all, in the Alliance, it was you who insisted on that suicidal assault against Nerva when you had no hope of victory. I could not risk leaving the ARK's fate to your absurd alliance. So I put my thumb on the scales of life and death itself. All it took was a simple manipulation of that buffoon core to keep him away from battle, and your grand alliance crumbled from within. A little concentrated narcotic of my own design, placed within his creatures' feeding troughs, and soon they all passed silently into oblivion.
Next, we learn that Rockwell was a part of the Great Alliance and is actually to blame for their fall, giving Nerva the chance to rise to power. Rockwell poisoning Core's creatures and very likely informing Nerva of the massive attack they had planned. Rockwell poisoning Core's tribe itself could be a minor reference to the Burning Phoenix tribe's fate within the Explorer Notes story. I honestly don't think we've seen the last of Rockwell's famed narcotics, and dare I suggest that Rockwell may try to poison the New Legion at some point.
I'm sorry we couldn't come to an understanding, Mei-Yin. But then you never could accept the true order of the world, could you?
The ARK is ever-changing, and Rockwell is very clearly determined to stay on top of it.
Hey look, it's some dung beetles, and one of them even has a little ball of poop.
I've been experimenting with a new explosive compound.
That sounds promising.
Promising, but volatile. We'll still need to first get inside the stronghold to place this spark powder.
Holy shit, is that spark powder from the game ARK Survival?
To find some other way to get up and over.
Hey, who's been stealing my save route?
Holy shit, is that Savarut from the game ARK Survival?
I think
think we have our answer.
Megalania's having plot relevance isn't something I expected, but I am all here for it.
Now rest. Tomorrow will be difficult.
John says tomorrow will be difficult, which isn't technically a lie. It's just going to be very difficult in a very different way.
How could I fear death, Helena? I have already died. These are not my stars. And this is no afterlife. If it were, I would see my wife again. I would hold my son in my arms.
This may just be my favorite scene in the entire show, and maybe even one of my favorite scenes in animation, period. The Ark being a horrible place, rife with death and destruction, along with its fake sky paint a terrible picture for it, being a phony afterlife.
This place has given Lassie a new life. But for that alone, it must be something sacred. It surely has a purpose of its own.
But even with all of that, John still loves this place for the sole reason that it gave Lassie, his adopted daughter, a second chance at life. And because of that, he believes that it is sacred.
What an absolutely stunning shot. John admitting he's not afraid to die because he knows this isn't the afterlife is truly something. This is a breathtaking shot, and possibly top 3 in the entire series.
It's time to go, Helena.
It's time to go.
John is wearing black and orange face paint. In Native American culture, wearing black face paint usually meant protection or ward against evil, while orange was traditionally used to show optimism or success.
I'm sorry, Scary. You can't come with us this time.
Helena did not whistle Scary to stop following. This will be important later. Aw, the Rexes love each other. The look on Henry's face tells me that he probably has a feeling that this is going to be one of the last times he sees John again. Without fail, I cry every time I see this scene. Even though the time we spent with Han and May was short, we can feel the pain she's feeling, knowing that she could have saved her brother, but her great mission was standing in the way. And of course, even though Mei Yin dies here, she dies like a badass. Hey Jeremy Wildcard, if you're watching this, can Megalanias please be this cool in game?
In Roman culture, being crucified was seen as the most cruel and miserable way to punish somebody, to break their minds and set an example for others. Nerva really hates May.
You.
Hey, it's the guy that Helena spared in episode 4.
You came for me.
This line delivery from Michelle Yeoh is just... it's just heartbreaking. Oh my god, the new Legion flak armor is awesome. Look at John running around in the background.
Surrender Nerva.
What was that?
Surrender now, General Nerva. No one else needs to die.
Why would I surrender to you?
Because I'm the only person who will let you surrender at all.
It's good to see Mei Yin's badassery is rubbing off on Helena.
Get to Mei Yin!
Glad to see that everyone gets to be badass in the Part 1 finale. God damn, Nerva. Even the Rexes get their time to shine.
I feel like I've seen this before. I feel like this is a reference to some obscure media, but who knows.
This is awesome. I wish I could go back in time and show my high school self this. Holy shit. This right here is the reason I never really wanted a one-to-one adaptation of the notes. I want to be surprised, and god damn did this surprise me.
What I can give you now is your life. To make of it whatsoever you will. Your life and a Lakota name that has always been yours to claim. My daughter, Ojinjinka.
The name Ojinjinka means roses. In Native American culture, roses are considered an all-around symbol of life and hope.
Scary the Parasaur is a goddamn hero. And like Oofston said, he was still on follow.
Smiling? Why are you smiling?
Have I mentioned yet how much I love this show? Excuse me while I go cry in a fetal position now.
The Beast Queen may have escaped, but you are mine.
If John has to die, at least he gets to go out in a blaze of glory.
The Giga is still breathing.
John getting to see his wife and son again in the afterlife is a perfect ending to his character, especially after this line.
If it were, I would see my wife again. I would hold my son in my arms.
Actually, Mayan and Diana are supposed to be together? In all seriousness, I don't mind May and Helena being together, and honestly, I'm excited to see where their relationship goes from here. But I have noticed a fair amount of people saying that, well, now that May and Helena are a thing, there's no need for Diana anymore, and it's likely that she isn't going to show up, and honestly, that just doesn't really make any sense to me. Diana as a character is much more than just Mei Yin's girlfriend, and relegating her to that is insanely disrespectful to her as a character, and I fully expect to see her if the show makes it that far. Diana Alteros is an important part of the ARK universe, and I believe she will always have a place in it, even if she isn't Mei Yin's partner. It's an Argentavis. This may be one of my favorite looking creatures from the show, honestly.
Can you feel it? The balance of nature has been altered. Such movements are ominous. Soon the very pillars of the earth will be alight, and everything that we know will be destroyed.
I think I'm gonna like Kor the Prophet. And with that, we have come to the end of part 1 of ARK the Animated Series. A show that has absolutely joined the ranks of my favorite TV shows ever. Does the show have issues? Of course it does. There's no such thing as a perfect TV show. I know a lot of people went into the show wanting a one-to-one adaptation of the notes, or hell, even something that resembles the notes at all. And it's okay to be disappointed with the final product if that's what you believe the show should be. But what we ended up getting, I believe, is truly special in its own way. It may not be the Explore notes, but I think the show delivers on what I believe is the most important aspect of the ARK franchise, which is not the dinosaurs or the creatures, but the diverse cast of human characters that populate this world. Characters who may share different goals and ideologies, characters who are flawed, and those who are perfect just the way they are. Characters who may be heroes, villains, or somewhere in the middle. As different as they may be, they are all puzzle pieces to the greater purpose of the arcs and the system itself. And all of these characters, as small as their role may be, are important in their own way. And just who are these characters? Well, let's go over the main four. Helena Walker is the protagonist of the show, which isn't a surprise to anyone who read the Explorer Notes, as she's pretty much the protagonist there too. This adaptation of Helena takes what we have from the notes and expands upon them, giving us more insight into her backstory and life on Earth. Madeline Madden also provides an amazing voice for Helena, and proves once and for all that she is perfect for this character. She also takes much more of a role in the story than she ever did in the Explorer Notes. In the source material, Helena didn't really do much of anything until Extinction, but in the show, she gets right into the action, immediately getting on Nerva's bad side and kickstarting the plot and emotion. Overall, I loved Helena in the show, and I can't wait to see what's next for her journey in Part 2. As I've mentioned before, Mei-Yin and Nerva were two characters that I never really cared for in the Explorer Notes. I was mostly neutral to Mei-Yin, but I actively disliked Nerva in the source material, finding him to be uninteresting and a bore to follow. But I'm happy to say that in the show, I find both of these characters amazing, and that comes from their inner conflicts and past partnership with one another, along with stunning voice work from Gerard Butler and Michelle Yeoh. Nerva's external motivation, being that he wants to return home and retake Rome, works extremely well for his character, along with his internal motivation to return to his partner Cassia. In my opinion, dropping his obsession with the gods elevates his character, and I think his reaction upon realizing that he cannot return home will be just as, or even more impactful, as when he realized the gods abandoned him in the notes. Mei-Yin is also excellent. Her past struggles on Earth are a personal highlight for me, and seeing that she chose to abandon her brother instead of rescuing him sets up what has the chance to be an amazing character arc in Part 2, with Mei realizing that it's okay to sacrifice the mission if it means saving the ones you love. And now we arrive at the part everyone has been waiting for. The character who is the most divisive among the fanbase. The great, the late, Sir Edmund Rockwell. Take it away, Blockbeam.
Rockwell is by far the most controversial character in the entire show. A lot of people hate how he was depicted and think he is pure evil. Well, my time has come to talk about him, and I have to say, he is absolutely fantastic. Above all, Rockwell is always using everyone around him for his own gain. Rockwell on the show is clearly playing his own game, with no allegiance to anyone but himself, and is doing everything in his power to satisfy his own goals. We learn Rockwell is the reason for Nerva being in power in the first place, but it's pretty evident Rockwell doesn't want Nerva in power forever. Him not giving Nerva the tech rifle is a fantastic example of this. He witnesses what it can do, but chooses to lie to Nerva instead. Rockwell needs a world where the type of experiments that he wants to do are allowed. Nerva and the New Legion allow this world to exist. The Great Alliance probably wouldn't allow the experiments that Rockwell wants to do. He says as much to Mei-Yin.
I could not risk leaving the Ark's fate to your absurd alliance. So I put my thumb on the scales of life and death itself.
A lot of the lines they gave Rockwell are just perfectly him. David Tennant once again proves he is perfect for this character. They've laid the foundation for a truly special character arc, and I cannot wait to see what becomes of him in Part 2.
This new world is far too valuable to be left to your petty squabbles. This place contains more wonders than you can dream of. Secrets that only I can unlock. Secrets meant for me alone.
And if you don't think that line is Rockwell, I don't think we can be friends.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you, Blockbeam. And there it is. That is ARK the Animated Series. It's been a long time coming. It's been about 4 years since the original reveal of the show, and about 8 years since I started wanting a TV show. So what's next for me? Well, there's still one more thing to cover, and that is the trailer for Part 2 of ARK the Animated Series, Season 1. I'm honestly not really sure what kind of format I want to do for that video, so expect that one to come a bit later than these ones did. Once again, I'd like to thank Blockbeam for appearing in these videos and doing his amazing speech on Rockwell at the end there. As always, his channel will be linked in the description. That's all for now. I'll see you guys for the Part 2 trailer.